go to market for the marketplace within North America. And my email address is there, so I welcome you. If you have a question, you want to email me, pete@google.com, and you can find me on LinkedIn there as well. And also at the end, I'm going to also give you a variation of my email address that you can email me, and I will auto respond with some links that I talk about that you can then use. And so you'll see them in here. And I think I have a copy of these slides as a PDF. So at the end, I'll give you a way that you can email me and you can get the material here that we're talking about. We also, thank you for starting the recording, I forgot. We also are recording this, and then we will make this available after, so this could be watched, and those of you, the people that weren't able to make it, or if you want to review that as well later. So what do we want to talk about today is the role of the marketplace and how it's changing procurement going forward, and how we see this adoption happening of cloud marketplaces. Why the Google Cloud Marketplace? What is the value for your business to use the Google Cloud Marketplace? And I'm going to kind of show you how it works through a live demo, which are always fun to try and do live demos like this, but we're gonna give it a shot. So one thing that we start with is why are the cloud marketplaces growing, and not just with Google, but with all the hyperscalers. We're seeing a lot of growth and momentum. In the next slide, I'll give you some numbers and what the market is projected to be for the cloud marketplace. But the role of procurement is modernizing, and it's really interesting if you look at trends in the consumer market, trends around how, for example, how you buy cars. 5 years ago, I said you could buy a car from an app and a car vending machine. That might have seemed kind of weird. However, you can buy a car with an app, never seeing it. Carvana has vending machines where you can buy a car. And so we're seeing consumer trends. We all know about Amazon moving online. And that's something that's been happening for quite a while. And it's even getting into the automotive industry. Well, now we're seeing that online buying kind of also start to take place in the enterprise. So this marketplaces that we have today is kind of evolving the way enterprises like you are buying cloud services. And so we're seeing that evolve, and the marketplace is really the way in which we're modernizing the procurement process for our customers. And we're seeing tremendous growth in cloud marketplaces. And we're seeing enterprise grade level buying, negotiating, and governance in the marketplace and the way you conduct business. It's evolving traditional sales. And so some traditional sales were very paper-based, very laborious. We saw DocuSign come along and digitize some of that. And now we're doing that and evolving that traditional sales through cloud marketplaces. And it's a sales-led, and you still maintain, I'll talk about this, you still maintain your relationships just in a traditional sense, but we're using now the marketplace to do that transaction. So I mentioned that we see this evolving, and Tackle.io is one of our partners, and they have projected by 2025 that the cloud marketplace business will be a $50 billion business. Other analysts have said 45 billion by 2025, and that's what we see in the market today. And this is all cloud marketplaces. So we're seeing a lot more of this transaction, and we're going to see more and more going forward, because as the tools and the processes evolve, as partners move their software to the cloud, a cloud marketplace just makes sense to do that procurement. And in this survey, 83% of buyers said they would use a cloud marketplace. And we also see more and more of our partners wanting to transact and move through the marketplace. So you see sellers plan to put more significant focus on investment in cloud marketplaces. You can see those stats there. So as we can see, this trend is evolving into using a cloud marketplace. So what I want to do is kind of talk to you about the Google Cloud Marketplace and what's the value, and then we'll walk through a few things. Our vision is the marketplace becomes the primary online distribution channel for Google Cloud, providing a universal catalog of solutions to easily discover, try, buy, and use with Google Cloud. A lot of the solutions that our customers are buying are integrated with first-party solutions within GCP. The cloud marketplace allows those solutions to come together, not just from a technical point of view, where we do co-engineering together, but the marketplace allows the business relationships to come together between Google and our partners and provide a synergy and a really great experience to our customers through that. Discover, try, buy, and use. So we can discover, I'll show you the marketplace when we get to that point where you can go out and see what's available there. Some of our partners allow you to try it before you buy it. They give a 30-day free trial. And also you can buy. Some of our partners have click to deploy, so it's very easy for you to buy without ever having to talk to a human. Or predominantly we see private offers where you do negotiate that as well. So it's not either or, it's both and. And we see a lot of different flexible ways to do this. We have different solutions. We have different services that are made available by our partners through the marketplace. So let's talk about why the Google Cloud Marketplace and some of the benefits to you buying through the marketplace. It is a procurement platform. I'll show you in the console where you can see what you have purchased. So you have one view of all of your current subscriptions. It's fully integrated into the cloud console. We have a diverse selection. We have bring your own license. We have pay-go, which is where you just click and buy. We have SaaS offerings. We have APIs. We have Kubernetes containers, and we have virtual machines. So we have a lot of different solutions for your particular need. All of this is run through Google and through the console, and which means there is one bill from Google for all of the solutions that you buy. I will show you also in the console where you can pull out what is a cloud purchase, and you can actually look at, okay, these are all of my marketplace purchases to help you separate those from the Google services as well. One of the big benefits is the commit drawdown. It counts towards your GCP commitment up to the allowable cap. So I encourage you, if you're unfamiliar with this, is if you look at your commitment, if you have a commitment with Google, is to look in to see what is your commitment and what is the cap that is allowed. It's in the contract, and I don't want to speak for what that says, so I encourage you to go and look at that. But dollar for dollar, everything you buy in the marketplace will count towards that commitment up into the cap. And I encourage you to look at the contract and understand what that means. And we give our partners billing flexibility for our customers. It could be monthly, or it could be annual prepay. It could be installments to help meet budgetary needs. For example, if you're buying in November, but you only have 2 months of calendar year or budget year left, they could do 2 months in November, and then they could do the remaining in January when the new budget hits. So we have flexible ways to do installment payments. Now that is between the partner and you and how you want to negotiate that, but we want to make that as frictionless as we can as you purchase. It's important to call out with the cloud marketplace, you maintain your direct relationship with your partners, the vendors that you want to purchase. This is very important. Legal terms are negotiated and agreed upon between the customer and the technology partner. Google is not a part of those, and the private offer that you would receive will actually have those terms, can have those terms attached. So you still maintain the negotiation that you want around price and terms and a EULA and things of that matter. So you can still maintain that direct relationship. And then that private offer will allow you to accept that, integrate it into your Google billing, but maintain that relationship and those terms with that technology partner. So in financial incentives, I mentioned the commit drawdown. This is by far a huge benefit of the marketplace. When we have partners that deploy their solution on GCP, it's a SaaS solution. Let's take MongoDB as an example, MongoDB Atlas. They deploy that within GCP and you purchase that through the marketplace. We want you to have the benefit of the commit drawdown for that solution that's running on GCP towards your commitment. And so we allow that commit drawdown because you're buying something that is running on GCP. All of the vendors in the marketplace run on GCP. We currently don't have a model where we can buy and deploy in a different cloud or buy or deploy on-prem. All of the partners we have worked with extensively to ensure the solution is hosted on GCP. And that allows us to give you that benefit of the commit drawdown because it is consuming Google services there. So it's very important, and it's a very huge benefit to buying through the marketplace. We also have We also have the different models, flexible billing options through annual upfront payments, or we can do up to 5 years annual prepays, or we can do monthly as well, up to 5 years as well. That depends on the relationship and how you work with your partner and how they want to bill you. We just pass those charges along through the invoice, the Google invoice. Procure and fulfill fast, with the ability to go in and to do some private, either private offers or public offers. You can actually today go out and buy some of our partners that have pay-go offerings on the marketplace. Now, this may not be appropriate if you're actually buying something for business use. You may want to have additional terms negotiated with that partner, but this will allow you to go out and to try. And so if you're not sure if a particular solution is going to meet your developers or your team's needs, you can go out and procure it and use it in like a test dev environment. And to do this very fast without even having to talk to anyone, you can go out and you can do that. And then this process where we do this quickly, and then as you do these private offers, it can become a very scalable motion where you negotiate the contract, but the accepting of the private offer happens very quickly. I think it's really important that we also call out and talk about governance. I kind of make the joke that, you know, my kids have our Amazon password. So my kids are out and they unfortunately, you know, have the freedom to buy whatever they want. However, that's not appropriate in the enterprise. You need to have governance and controls so that people can't go out and just buy what they want. And we want to enable that through the marketplace. Access control. Billing administrator is the only role within Google Cloud that can procure using the marketplace, accept a private offer, or go out and do a pay-go purchase. So it's very important. Access control, billing administrator, it's very important that you manage that, to have several people that are allowed to accept a private offer. I'll walk through the workflow on that in a minute. Request procurement is another feature that we have that allows you to actually, instead of having a subscribe button in the marketplace, you actually have request procurement button and then a text field. So if users go out and they actually see a solution they're interested in purchasing on the marketplace or exploring, instead of hitting subscribe, which they probably wouldn't be able to do because they're not a billing administrator, they can actually hit request procurement. They can type in notes why they want to look at it, and then they can hit request procurement, and that email is sent to an authorized procurement person to now engage with that user on their use case and why they want to purchase. So request procurement is another layer of governance that we have that's available for you in order to put over the marketplace. The other area that is in development right now, which is this another layer of defense or depth that we're doing in governance, is private marketplace. And here, this allows you to actually set up curated items in the marketplace that you've already negotiated, you already have the contracts with, and you are allowing your users to engage with those solutions through a private marketplace. They won't see the other solutions where you haven't established relationships with. This is currently in preview. It's not generally available, but it is something, and there is a link, and that will pass along information on how you can start exploring a private marketplace for governance. Governance is a very important area that we focus on. Consolidating vendor relationships. This is a way that you can actually scale procurement by consolidating the billing, by consolidating the actual console where you actually purchase into the GCP console. You actually can go to an order page and you can see all of your active subscriptions, and I'll show you that in a minute. And you don't need to have a different billing arrangement with each of those partners. You pay Google, we take care of paying them. So you don't have to worry about setting that up. You just have that already set up with us. We can take care of that for you. Google today will be the seller of record or the merchant of record. That will be eventually all changing down the road. However, right now we are the merchant of record. Google is the merchant of record. And that may be simplify the procurement process as you go forward with a new vendor that you don't have a relationship with. Google being the merchant of record may streamline that a little bit. So I want to talk a little bit about the private offer workflow. This by far is one of the most, when I present to customers, one of the we spend a lot of time on this because I think they want to understand how private offers work. So in step number one, you as a procurement officer responsible for the procurement of the solution, you negotiate that commercials directly with the technology partner that you're working with. You agree on the legal and commercial terms, and then you would provide them your GCP billing ID. You give that to the vendor. And then they take that billing ID and they take the negotiated terms and commercials, and they will then build a private offer. The vendor creates a private offer via the console with your billing ID. They will then email that over to you or to whoever was working with them. That URL link can only be viewed by the billing administrator. We're going back to the governance and control. That can only be viewed by the billing administrator. One thing that's important is there is a download PDF of the private offer within the console. And why this is important is chances are the billing administrator that's going to accept the private offer may not be the same person who negotiated the terms of the private offer. So download PDF allows you to take that private offer offline and hand that over to the person who is intimately familiar with the deal, with the commercials, with the pricing, and they can review it and say, yes, this private offer is what we agreed to. And then they can then communicate back to the billing administrator. You can go ahead and accept the terms. If things aren't as they agreed to and they're off, you can go back to the vendor and say, hey, we need to tweak this a little bit. You need to add this language, this pricing, whatever that may be. And then we would start at step one and go back through that process. So the download PDF is a very important feature to help ensure the private offers that accepted are what you negotiated. So then step four, the authorized procurement offer accepts the online offer online in the console. And that's basically, they have a URL, they can review the terms, and then they can click accept at the bottom. And I'll review that and show you what that looks like in a second. At that point, the order is sent back to the partner. They accept it, and then they deploy the solution. And that is up to how they deploy, but they would then deploy the solution. It's important to note that I have on step 5 is that the billing terms are based on your Google Cloud negotiated payment terms. It's very important because you're paying Google, it's coming on your Google invoice. The payment terms are what you have with GCP with Google, not what you have with that partner. Google has become the merchant of record. We're the partner that is going to be invoicing you for that. So now it's up to the payment terms that Google has negotiated. And then step 6, the vendor deploys the solution. So now I'm gonna jump into the demo portion of what I put together today. So I'm going to do a private offer demo, and on my little laptop here on the right, there's an email I sent myself, demo of a URL. So this is what it may look like when you get a private offer. The partner would send you an email, and they would then provide a URL for you to click on and for you to review. And so I could click on this URL, and what that's going to do is that will now show me the private offer. And so I click on it, I now have a private offer, and this is what they look like. And they could alter a little bit depending on the solution, depending if you're buying a SaaS solution or VM or Kubernetes. These could vary a little bit depending on the solution you're buying, but generally this is what you'll see. You'll see the partner details and the customer details. You see my name in here, Google, I'm in both sides just because I'm demoing. And then you can see the billing account. Here I have a go-to-market marketplace demo account that I use for this private offer. And you can see you want to verify that it's the right billing account. Many customers have multiple billing accounts. So you want to make sure you're actually using the right billing account when you accept the private offer. And it's the one back on that workflow where you provided to the partner. And here I have until the end of the month to accept this. So every partner, when they build a private offer, can actually put a date by which it has to be accepted. So this doesn't live on forever. And so we have a date where we have a deadline where we have to accept. And then we have the different overview of the private offer. This one is $144. I think I did $12 a month. And you can see some of the different details on the private offer. We see a start date. We see here we don't have an end date because of the way I constructed it. It's for 12 months. It's a post pay, which means it's monthly. It's not prepay. It's actually going to bill me monthly. And then you can see this is a SaaS demo. This could be Palo Alto, Elastic, Splunk, whatever the actual partner is, would be listed here. And then the different plan. This is configurable by the partner. This one is enterprise. And the enterprise plan has different features like around egress, support, storage. They can define what those features are. But this plan is enterprise. And you see the pricing is $12 per month, flat fee. And then we get into reviewing the policy, and we also get into reviewing the EULA and some of the other terms. And let me walk through that. Here you can see I have attached a custom EULA. Through the private offer process, there is a PDF upload that the partner can use, that the vendor can use to upload the negotiated terms. It could be an order form. It could be anything that you have agreed with them that they want to upload. And so here you can then view that and make sure it's what you negotiated. And then you'll see some other licensing. This is more Google licensing, Google terms here at the bottom. And you will notice there are the marketplace terms of service. It's important to note that the marketplace terms of service are between Google and you, the customer, and they aren't negotiable. They're a click-through agreement that are included here in this private offer. They are just explaining the platform of the marketplace. They don't go into and they don't supersede your cloud master agreement. The cloud master agreement that you have is for first-party services. This is just for the marketplace. And you also see that it references the end user licensing agreement that is above, which is the custom EULA. So it's important to know, and I will actually be able to send you a copy of the terms of service to make sure you review them. I think the last time they changed was December. We don't change them very often. And you need to review them and make sure you understand that you are clicking and accepting those when you accept the private offer. So what I will do is I can hit agree to the terms above, and I can hit accept. And what this will do is it's then going to go and it's going to register the deal with the partner. This experience will be different depending on the partner that you use. And now it says now sign up with a marketplace partner. I'm not going to do this step because this is just the demo product, but you could sign up and that will redirect you directly to the next process that partner or that vendor has set up for you. So now that I've accepted a private offer, you will see I can go into the console that in GCP, and under your products, if I go under marketplace, and then I can go under your products, and you will see here all of the solutions that I currently have under my billing ID. And so I have a certain billing ID, and I can go in and I can see all of the marketplace purchases that I've done. Here I've done an Active Directory domain controller. This is a virtual machine running in my environment. And this is an example of a VM-based purchase that I have done. I have my SaaS demo, which is what I just accepted. This is a different one, but I just accepted this one. I also have Splunk Cloud in here, and I have MongoDB in here. So here you will see, and this is where we're consolidating all of the purchases together to bring you the ability to kind of bring them all together in one area. I want to jump back real quick to the private offer, and in the private offer, you have the ability here to download this. And there actually was available on the before you accepted, you had the ability to do this, but you have to download the current offer as a PDF. This is where you will actually take that and you can send that offline if you need to. It's available before you accept, and it's also available here after you accept. So sorry, I didn't share that tab. Here we are. This is where I can download that current, the PDF if I need to right here. So this is where I've accepted the offer and I can download that as a PDF. I want to switch over now and kind of look at what does the marketplace look like in your billing console. So here I have set up a kind of a demo console, and you can see I have some spend in here, and I have a lot of different SKUs and services that I've purchased. Compute engine, I have this SaaS demo, which is what I just purchased through the marketplace. I have my Active Directory domain controller, which you saw on that other page. And I also got a few other things. I have Splunk and some storage and logging that I have in here. What I want to do is just show you two ways that you can kind of separate your marketplace purchases from all of the first-party services that are in here. So the first way is our SaaS offerings are not associated with a project. So if I go over here under projects and I select charges not specific to a project, it's going to filter down to just here, Splunk and this database demo product. So these are marketplace purchases that I have done that are SaaS. They're not running in my environment. They're running in their environment, but they're billing through the Google console. So here I can look at that. And the other way to do that, because I also have like this Active Directory domain controller running, that I want to pull out some of the first party, some of the purchases that are running in my environment, not as a SaaS. Here I can go up to the group by, and I can actually group by SKU. And what I want to look for is this licensing fee. And I see here a licensing fee. Licensing fee means this is actually fee. Here, this fee is for Windows Server Data Center Edition. And this licensing fee is for Active Directory domain controller. And so here I can actually then filter. If I want to go up and I want to use the save view, I can actually type in licensing fee, and I actually set up this filter so I can see all of the different fees that I have. I also deployed some Linux distributions in here, but they're free, so they're not showing up with any cost. But you can actually see how I can pull out any marketplace purchase that wasn't necessarily associated with a Google first-party product. So I'm going to show you a couple other things that I want to just kind of review real quick with you. And this is a link. This is controlling our access and control with identity and access management. I'll make sure to provide this link to you on how to set up the billing administrator for governance as well. And then also how to manage procurement requests. This is a way for you to go in and to set up that button to do procurement requests. These are articles that I'll make sure I get to you. The other thing I have here and I've created is a 2-page document on accepting a private offer. And it's pretty small right now. I'll bring it in. And so here I have put together a document that gives you a step-by-step on negotiating, reviewing, your private offer. Ensure you have the right permissions. Also have some videos in here that actually walk through accepting a private offer, marketplace governance, and then how to accept the private offer. And so I want to be able to make those available to you. And so what I have done is I've created an email address. If you were to email me at pethpluswebinar@google.com, you will get an autoresponder with all of the links that I just showed you. And so you can then download them yourself. So I'll leave this set up and it should automatically just send it back. It's not reply. It doesn't rely on me to actually reply. So next steps, what I would encourage you to do is, number one, send that email and get the links to this presentation, to that 2-pager on accepting a private offer, and some of the other links that I provided. But I also encourage you to engage with your Google sales team and say, okay, I'm interested in what can we do? How can we take some solutions through the marketplace? Help me with that process. And they can help you with, comparing what solutions are in the marketplace to what you currently own today or what you may be buying in the future. And then also, as you're working with your tech vendors, as you're working with your partners, discuss using the marketplace. What can we do? And is this possible to go through the marketplace to procure this? So that's what I have today. I want to thank you for joining me and going through this. You have my email address there, pete@google.com. If you have a question you want to send directly to me. We weren't able with the Google Meet to do a live Q&A today, but if you want to shoot me a question, I'm more than happy to respond and with an answer or to point you in the right direction of where to go. And then also you can reach out and get that email with those links in there as well. So I'd love to hear from you and see if this was valuable and if there are any questions that you have. So with that, I'm going to sign off. Thank you everyone for joining.